purest essence of what makes a business tick is sometimes fleeting. It's not always available to draw on demand. So if you can capture these things on video, you're capturing magic in a bottle. My name is Tyson, and I own New Line Media. I really believe that the keystone to any successful business is the connection that business builds with the people that it serves. Traditionally, these attributes were all achieved through interpersonal communication. It came through authentic connection. Then the arena of the internet introduced a whole range of resources that expanded what businesses were capable of achieving. But the trade-off for these new resources will take connection with the people that we serve. And without that connection factor, businesses become commodities, just a name and a price tag. So the dilemma businesses face today is how to preserve that sense of connection in a digital space. And I believe that the answer to that problem is video. At New Line Media, my goal is to help you take your influence, your passion, your spirit, your essence, and make it available to anyone, at any time, no matter where they are. When the power of video is truly harnessed, it can become so much more than just a flashy way to promote yourself. Video can help your business build trust in those you serve or want to serve. It can build familiarity. It provides information and education, and most of all, it can pull your customer into your space for a few moments and give them a taste of what working with you would be like. It provides them with that in-house connection experience, no matter where they are. And that is what I focus on, because it's all about making a connection. So if you're a business owner who's ready to shift gears and unbind yourself using video as the business asset that it should be, then go to my site and submit a request to work with me. If I think I'm going to be the best fit for you, then I will reach out and we will schedule a time to meet.
Welcome to the Business Boys Talkin-Business show with your hosts, Brian Magleby and Tyler Price.
Hey.
Back at it.
Yeah. Beautiful scenery behind us here.
Oh man, someday, not too far down in the next month, I predicted it will be that green.
Yeah, well, there's no snow at the river currently, but
No.
we'll wait till tomorrow.
Wait till tomorrow, but they say spring has sprung, but we still are used to. I mean, I've seen it here in July, so why not May happen in May? Huh?
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah. Welcome to Idaho, everybody. So good. We're glad to have you here for Talkin-Business today. We had a great show last week. Christina, man, she's got a lot of things going on, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's CEO of multiple companies, realty, and all the. I mean, she's just super involved. So it was good to have Christina on the show last week. But let's talk about. We can't do the show without some sponsors, can we?
Yeah. No, sponsors, they make it happen.
They
right?
keep us going. So.
Well, we got Vulpine Marketing with our website and just making sure that everything stays up to date and current. The Idaho Innovation Center.
You can talk for them for about 30 minutes on us, but
you got any spots available?
We
right
do.
now?
We have one office available, but we've got we always try to keep at least one spot open. So come on down. We've got some great things happening here. Man, some of the great tenants we've added this year, they're making business happen. So we're excited here at the Innovation to have that. New Line Media, you just watched their ad, and man, he does great video work, and he produces the show each and every week for us. Tyson, look him up on Facebook, New Line Media. Tyson Bolcom does a great job there.
Man Cave Innovations.
Getting his technology going.
But there we go. They're back. Man Cave Innovations.
That's right.
If you need anything really to from your wire in your house, I mean, they just do a lot of
security
services.
System cameras. They can do everything. Home automation they can do. So very good. Next page here. BBSI. We talk about them. We've talked about them for years, but we can't say enough about them.
Yeah, no, they've been with us from the very beginning, and Jeremy Hicks and Jared Oviatt and Mike Smart. I mean, that's a group of
the
Troy
best
Dean,
employees in town. Troy Dean. Oh man, all there's great.
Yeah.
So Style House, man, look at these decors. You can't see it now because we got this on here, but all the decorations here. Style House Decor and Staging. Thank you to Christy Carlquist for taking care of us, making our set look each and every week just amazing. So at Mrs. Powell's, I'll talk about them because I'm the fat boy here. So I love a little Mrs. Powell's action. So
Amy Romrell, she just gets after it.
She loves to be involved with a lot of different events, and she just does a great job. And of course, the SBDC couldn't do the show without them. If your business needs any kind of business consulting, check it out, idahosbdc.org. Request an appointment, and we will help you out in your business. So very good. Let's talk about some of the classes that we have. I think that if you want to put that cooking class up here, it's on the 28th. We have a class that's actually happening tonight at the Innovation Center, and the registration there. We've got the one from the 14th on there, but the 20 actually. That's happened. That's already happened.
The salsa night happened.
It's salsa and Dutch oven night. I was thinking it was on the 28th, but we moved it a week ahead to the 21st. So
good.
So, but we have cooking classes. Go ahead and go off that. Twice a month we're going to have cooking classes in our commercial kitchen. So we've got next month in May we're going to have some on barbecuing and grilling and all sorts of things, fun things for the summer. In the summer we're going to have some cooking classes for the kids as they're out of school. Check out the Idaho Innovation Center. They'll always have a list of our classes that we have on there. So we also have a QuickBooks class. Do you have the QuickBooks, a flyer that has the QuickBooks class? Not that one. It's one, maybe I haven't sent it to you. Anyway, we have a QuickBooks class starting on May 5th, and it is a QuickBooks class. So you can be beginner or intermediate. We're looking at having an advanced QuickBooks class in the fall, but this class covers beginner and intermediate. Check out our website, idahosbdc.org, and you can register for that or check it out on the Idaho Innovation Center, which is innovateidaho.org. So check it out there. We've got a listing of all of our classes on both websites. Anyway, we're excited about today's show.
Yeah.
A superstar here in Eastern Idaho. Yeah. She's been here for years.
No.
And now she's leading us out in Boise, one of our state legislators. Barb Ehardt. I've known her for 20 plus years at the Apple Athletic, and man, she's just super involved.
Yeah, no, you got to have somebody that's crazy enough to go back and deal with the headaches back there, right? And Barb checks the box.
Yes,
I've known her for a few years, so I can say that in a joking fashion.
Yes,
right? But yeah,
man, she's doing a great job representing here in Eastern Idaho. She just last month or earlier this month finished up the working with the legislature over in Boise. We're going to talk all about some of her accomplishments over there, some of the wins and things that she walked away from out of Boise this year. So she is super involved. We're gonna watch a quick. It's about a 4-minute video. It's a local News 8 did a highlight on one of the things. One of the, what do you call them? The articles. One of the
news stories.
News stories.
There you go.
Piece of legislation that they worked on that they're still in the process of, but local News 8 did a little thing on the possibilities of adding some of the land in Oregon onto the state of Idaho. This is totally new and a revolutionary idea. We're going to probably talk about it a little bit, but this is a little article to talk about something that they talked about in the legislature and that Barb helped with. So watch this, and then we'll welcome Barb Ehardt.
It's extremely frustrating. The rules and regulations that they're making that make sense in the city don't make sense out here.
Out here in Eastern Oregon, the expansive rural region, and Sandy Gilson's home, where we're walking is a world away from the urban cities of the state.
Do you have anything in common with Portland?
Oh, sure, we're all people.
But she says that's about it. And the signs dotting the east tell you what many people here want, known as the Greater Idaho Movement. Redraw the state line. So liberal Portland and the other Democratic cities are Oregon. And Eastern Oregon, overwhelmingly Republican, joins largely conservative Idaho. Nearly all of Oregon's 17 eastern county governments have approved plans to leave and form a larger Idaho resembling the logo on Sandy Gilson's hat.
Is this about politics or differences?
Both. We are very different people. I don't believe that the Oregon government as a whole and the supermajority that has been in power there for many decades is listening to Eastern Oregon at all.
It just overwhelmingly hit me. This makes sense.
So much so that Idaho State Representative Barbara Ehardt, a Republican, co-sponsored a bill to begin dialogue with Oregon.
This is where all the big decisions are made for the Idaho legislature.
The bill passed the Idaho House and is now before the Senate. Idaho's government is officially on a path to redraw its state line for the first time since 1864.
Is it possible? I believe it is. It's when your government will no longer listen to you, what do? We don't want them to start an internal, war or battle, but at some point, that's what people are going to turn to if they can't be listened to. So they're turning to us.
The country is so torn apart right now by ideology.
Yes.
Is this your vision of peace?
It is one of the solutions, yes.
Are we going to carve Georgia out of Atlanta? Are we going to carve Austin out of Texas? Are we going to slice Michigan? It's a ridiculous road to start to go down.
State Representative Ilana Rubel knows all about being a political minority. She's a Democrat in Ruby Red, Idaho, and voted against the state bill.
Are you surprised that it has already gotten this far?
I'm saddened, but I'm not surprised. We are in a time, I think, of unprecedented partisanship and hostility. We heard Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for the breakup of America because it's so unbearable, apparently, for people of different political ideologies to be living together.
We don't think of ourselves as a secessionist movement. We see ourselves as a self-determination movement.
Are you hearing from other places around the country?
Yes, we are hearing from all over the country because this is not a problem that's unique to the state of Oregon.
Matt McCaw used to live in Portland, but moved east where he was born, frustrated by pandemic policies of the city. Laws should match the citizens, he says.
We can match people up to government they want, and everybody gets the government they want and the political tension goes down.
Should this happen in other places?
Yes, I believe we should, and I think that most Americans agree. We should try to get people government that they want.
Portland's changed. Salem's changed. Eugene has changed.
What do you say when the people of those cities say that they're changing with the times and that's the America of today?
They say it's more progressive to have government tell you what to do, but the people here haven't changed.
All right. Wow. Interesting stuff there, right?
Yes.
Always something interesting.
We got the play-by-play while it was happening here with Barb, so we heard all of that. But that's quite an interesting thing that they're trying to do here.
It is interesting, and what people don't understand is that this is actually happening throughout the United States. We have various states and counties and places wanting to succeed from the liberal policies that are making it impossible for their businesses, and you guys are all about business, for their businesses to thrive and to have the kind of life that they want. And so, in 2021, actually in 2020, in December, we all received this email and invited us to a Zoom call, and I went to it. Speaker Bedke, joined in, and right away though, this resonated with me. I mean, when you've gone and you've sought redress from your government, which they have with those in charge in Portland in their Oregon legislature, and you can't get any redress, and there's more and more laws being spun your way that are making it difficult even to maintain your land, let alone to farm and to produce cattle. You have every right to seek redress someplace else, and so they're doing that by coming over to us. 11 counties right now have passed legislation saying, yes, please pursue joining in with Idaho.
They want to get away from I guess you could say, the liberals up in the Portland. I went to that Portland a year ago, and it was a rough rough area.
It's,
Man,
it's not the
people
same.
are unhappy with the liberal and everything that's going on up there.
Yeah.
So.
It's not the same, and when your government supports a chop zone, literally supports lawlessness, doesn't enforce any laws, what are you supposed to do? It's insanity. And so, this just really resonated with me. And as Idahoans, honestly, we should say, why not? Why not engage in this conversation and see what happens? Does it seem impossible? Well, sure, it seems like it might be a little bit difficult, but we have to remember that there are basically only three ways that states or people can form. I mean, you can create a new state unless you're DC. That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Not going to, especially if it's conservative. So, or you can succeed from the Union. We saw how well that had gone, 150, 160 years ago. Or you can move borders, and borders have moved. And so this is just one of the projects on which I've been involved from the beginning. In 2021, my colleague on the Senate side, Senator Steve Vick, who chaired his energy, and I forget the name, their committees are a little different than mine, but I chaired Energy, Environment, Technology Committee, and so we had a joint session where we invited Oregon to come in, the Greater Idaho Movement, and present their case. So this movement here in Idaho, Oregon has more national steam than any place else because we've given it some legitimacy. And as you could see there, we voted this year to, at least on the House side, to engage in the conversations. The Senate didn't quite take it up, but there's a next year. So it'll be interesting to watch.
So when do you see this being brought up in the next legislative session?
I think so. I mean, we'll continue to engage with Oregon. We have really a brand new Senate and, a lot of brand new House members. And so they're, trying to find their way too. And whether it's this next session or, the one after, this movement's not going away. Oregon they're in the eastern counties. They've got more, I think 3 more counties on the ballot coming up in May where they'll be voting whether or not to continue or to pursue moving to Idaho. So
it's a huge chunk of Oregon.
Huge. It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
So and let me just say too, for us, remember, I mean, with being the fastest growing state, we're talking a landmass where more people could spread out under our deregulations. What people don't understand when they also look at kind of the money, Oregon would thrive, at least that part of Oregon, with our deregulation policies and that which our governor has helped to set forward. But we've got the water, resources. They would also bring, the timber and the minerals. There's a lot of reasons to engage in this conversation.
Yeah, well, that sounds exciting. There's a lot of things that I'm sure got yet to happen with it. So
yes.
Well, and you've been back there. When you go to session, how many terms have you served now? Just 1.5?
No. I was just elected in November to my 3rd term.
3rd term.
Yeah.
Okay. And what made you say, I want to go deal with, because there's a lot of people that are like yourself that are qualified, but unlike you are like, no thank you. So what drives you to go and, because it can be frustrating to say the least, right? So what gets you up to say, no, I'm going to do this?
Well, as you remember, I was fortunate to be able to serve the people of Idaho Falls as a member of our city council and had looked to maybe take that farther. And this was an opportunity that when it opened up, it definitely felt like the hand of the Lord was involved in helping that opportunity to open up. And because I was appointed that first year, so I've served 6 years. And but having been there, man, I'll tell you, it's such an honor and a humbling experience, but I've always been involved in politics, so it's always something that has fascinated me. I mean, I've been involved since I was like 10, 11, 12 years old, and I was that weird child that when I was in 3rd grade sat and watched the Nixon impeachment hearings, that was fascinated by that. So, but to carry on what our forefounders had set forth, and to be part of that process and to represent the people here it's really important to me, and to try to be a voice, especially that traditional constitutional voice, wanting us to maintain. There's a reason that this country has the longest serving constitution of any other country out there. Any other country out there. We need to preserve it, and the way you preserve it is to keep what we've had, not to go into these crazy and embrace these crazy ideas that are being perpetuated upon Americans, and Idaho isn't immune to it. So, I'll do my darndest to stand up for our traditional family and faith-based values. Faith, family, freedom.
Yeah. The 3 F's that I know you've held close. So, talk to us about some of the other things that you were able to accomplish with the legislature this year.
Yeah, as a legislative body, though I won't do a great job right here of outlining it, but we did get what we'll call property tax reform. Some of that's going to include paying levies down and hoping, that'll take the burden off the people. Okay. There's going to be some burdens removed from our counties, and hoping that'll take the burden off the people. It was a multi-pronged approach that our Revenue Tax Committee, both on the House and the Senate side, they had worked on it for a year. The governor's office was involved the entire time, and so this is really a collaborative effort, and I'm supportive. The next step is our cities and counties throughout Idaho need to continue to do what they can to, it's like the governor said. The governor said in his opening state of the state that we don't tax property taxes. As far as it goes, we don't tax it, we don't levy it, we don't collect it. It's really a matter of local government, but we've stepped forward with some of this money to do what we can to add relief, to our people, and I'm all for that. We will have infused close to $400 million this year into our education system, and that is a number that's hard to comprehend. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I've supported it, but I'm a little hesitant to see what happens with all that money. As many said, does this mean we can now expect to see higher scores on our literacy tests, on the NAEP scores? Mm-hmm. So if that's what Hopefully. It takes, then because there has to be a return on investment. If we're talking, there needs to be a return on investment. Amen. And so we're saying we're investing in more, and yet the entire time I've been there, we have increased the percentage of our investment into education. So this one just really took some of the money with all the people moving in. There's been definitely more money, and that's being invested into education. So we shall hope to. We need it there. Yes, so. Yeah. See the rewards for that. And so a couple of things that I worked on as many people may recall from last year, ESG. We passed a couple of ESG legislative bills, as we recall, that
environment, social, and government.
That is exactly right. If you didn't understand
that, that's I questioned it first too. So
yes, that's exactly what it is. It's basically a world economic globalist agenda that is first hitting our banks and our financial system, but it's really hitting a lot of places. Idaho has been impacted most, and there's another piece of legislation that I wasn't involved with, 195, and it really had to do with our guns and the gun industry, and they absolutely have had their credit cards stopped. They haven't been able to buy or invest, and this is saying you can't do that. And if you're going to do that, you're not going to be able to do business in Idaho. And that's what some of the legislation I worked on with Senator Scott Grow and Senator Doug Ricks, here from Rexburg, and our treasurer, having to do with how we used our monies from the state of Idaho and how that would be invested or divested, and who would be allowed, basically banks who are not codifying or enforcing that and perpetrating that on the people. So, we got a couple of things like that done. They were steps in the right direction. We'll see how big of steps, they end up being. And then, a piece of legislation that I was able to pass seems kind of small, but those who know, is we've been working on a lot of things having to do with, the sexuality and education that's just everywhere. They've been trying, when I say they, we'll say the leftist movement, whoever it may be, but they have worked to change the definition of abstinence. And in our Reducing the Risk program, one of the TTP programs that grants that we receive from the federal government, they define abstinence as abstinent of getting pregnant, abstinent of getting STDs or HIV. And that is not what a parent, if I were to tell you, hey, we're going to have an abstinence program at the school, you think
That's
probably,
not what it all means for us conservatives here. So.
Exactly. And so all this did was say, if we're going to talk abstinence in the state of Idaho, we gave it an official definition.
Good.
And so that as I was told by our state superintendent, I think that sent a really clear message.
Well, I think it's great to have people that are proactive like you and that want to be involved, and and I mean you're not even involved here in Idaho. You're traveling all over the country on some of the things that you've been promoting. Is that right?
The Fairness of Women's Sports Act. Yes, it's passed. This year, it passed in Wyoming, and then it just passed in Kansas. Kansas ended up doing an override. For the third year, they passed the legislation, and Governor Kelly vetoed it. But this year, when Governor Kelly vetoed it from the election, they had enough to override it. They even had one Democrat cross over. Now, that wouldn't be the first Democrat in support of this common sense legislation. Louisiana had quite a number of Democrats when they passed theirs. But so, right now we've got 20 states. I traveled to Virginia this year to help testify there. I'm anticipating going to North Carolina here in a couple weeks, but we still have a couple states out there. And as you can see, Riley Gaines is actually a friend of mine, the swimmer who had to compete against Leah Thomas, 6'4" male that dominated, and it's just not right. Riley's planning to come here next year. We're going to do a fundraiser for me, and but she has turned out to be a phenomenal national voice on our behalf, because I'm telling you, Title IX changed my life. I did not know when I was an 8-year-old child in 1972 that Title IX would literally change my life, but it did. And those, all those years I spent coaching collegiately, it was absolutely going through things that our male counterparts didn't have to go through, and all the while trying to fight to create opportunities for our girls and women in the future. And to just have that turned back 50 years in time, to say, no, it's really about guys. Yeah. It's just not right.
Yeah. So you've people need to understand maybe your background, because you played obviously junior high, high school, collegiate basketball. You've coached at some big programs. You were a head coach at college, and this is all college level. And so for
D1.
you, there's some definite passion for, hey, hold on a second, because there is a physical advantage that now is being played against these girls that have worked very hard to get where they're at. So
exactly.
Anyway, that's it's interesting that we even have to have this discussion.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
Talk about, we've known each other for years at the Apple Athletic, and talk about your involvement and how you're involved with the sports through the Apple Athletic.
And now, of course, Steve Vukovich, phenomenal owner, fantastic boss, great friend. We now are Club Apple. So yes,
Steve,
yes.
I apologize. Katie, I am so sorry. I know all the staff over there. I'm gonna
there goes your membership.
I am out of there. They're going to close the racquetball courts just because of that. So I'm sorry. Club Apple.
Club Apple has been fantastic to me, and Steve does so much for the community, and Apple is involved so much in our community, and so. My little niche has been, it's turned out to be pretty big, but just all of the basketball camps and clinics that I've done, and then they've sponsored our travel basketball program that I've had with Travel Boys through the years.
Years.
Wow. Yes,
yeah,
I know you. Sometimes in the morning you'd be there playing when we'd be there practicing, and but it's always been more than just basketball. I'm a firm believer that basketball is a microcosm of life, and you can teach concepts, principles, and skills through sports that you can't. I 100% believe all kids should have something. It doesn't matter if it's band or debate or whatever it may be, but there are principles and concepts that you can teach through sports that you can't teach in some of the others, such as conflict resolution. To be able to understand how you deal with conflict between your teammates, between your coach, between the other team, the referees. What a huge and important skill, especially when you look today. I look at all these people at higher ed, these young people that are going to school, and how they respond to, I don't know whether you say they've been triggered or what, they needed to play sports and understand how to deal with conflict resolution, because they are not dealing with it correctly. As a matter of fact, it's really unsettling. Amen. So, yeah.
No, and I still coach football. I was coaching at
yeah.
Hillcrest for a while. Now I'm coaching back in the Grid Kid system and having a great time. But there is a physical change that you see when a kid is able to master or start to it to come together. So as a coach you've coached for decades as well. What's been some of the greatest memories that you have as you've put in your time as a coach?
Boy, the first great memory would be at UC Santa Barbara, where we built that program up from one of the worst Division I programs in the country. 4 years later, where we're competing for a Big West championship, where we win it, and then we go to the NCAAs and we win our first ever NCAA basketball game, and then we compete at Stanford against Stanford, the number 1 team of the country, and we don't quite win, but we foul out our 4th person. We have 4 on the floor with a minute to go and lose by 7. And then Stanford wins it all. I mean, that was just phenomenal. And then having an opportunity to coach at BYU. I happened to be LDS, and being at BYU, and just I was there when Steve Sarkisian was there. Fun to watch. Everything that goes with it, but to watch what in all the programs, to watch our young people as we interacted with the youth and the things we tried to do, and to watch them grow and embrace that. The first player, here's the fun trivia, the first player I ever recruited at UC Santa Barbara, my very first year, figuring out this recruiting thing, and we kept trying to get this player named Corey Close. And I could not get a hold of her, and I tell our head coach, I can't get her. And I diligently tried, and he told me, Coach E, just try one more time tonight. Now, I didn't really have to try, but I did. I tried one more time that night. If we didn't get her, we were going to drop her. I get her. Lo and behold, she ends up coming for a visit. We go there. She comes here to our campus for a visit. You can see where this story is going. We end up signing her. When I ended up leaving to go to BYU to coach, she had been, after she finished graduating, she went to UCLA as a graduate assistant, came back, took my spot, went to Florida State as as an associate head coach. Anyway, for the last 11 years, Corey Close has been the head coach at UCLA.
Wow.
Women's basketball. And so, it's sometimes you yourself don't get to achieve. I was a head coach at Cal State Fullerton, certainly nothing like UCLA. And so we don't always get to be the head coach at UCLA, but sometimes we can be the influencers for those who do great things. And that's what I think with so many of the kids that I've been able to coach. Yes, there's been those fun, exciting moments, even with our travel basketball, but now I look at what these kids are going to do, and I might I'm an influencer. Some playing,
is that right?
Sawyer Storms is still playing at Anchorage, Alaska, and doing phenomenal.
That's great. Well, what a powerful influence Barb Ehardt has been throughout the community. I've known her for over 20 years, and there at Club Apple, got it right, and the impact that you've had on those boys out there in the basketball. I see her out there all the time, coaching, and just what a phenomenal job you've done with that program there at Club Apple. So
thank you.
So continue that, and what else do you want the business community here in Eastern Idaho to know about? How are you fighting for the businesses here in Eastern Idaho?
I feel like we do that all the time. I hope our businesses know that we have a lot of people back in the legislature who understands that the reason Idaho ticks and the reason we're doing well is because of our small businesses. Boy, I'll tell you, I believe it with everything I have. And obviously, I work for a man, Steve Vukovic, who has done phenomenal things for this community, all about, the small business. And so whether it's trying to work on deregulation, sometimes you'd be surprised the screwy stuff that comes forward that would hurt businesses, and the amount of time and effort we go to try to make sure these policies aren't enacted. So if there are business questions or things businesses are concerned about, let us know. I will do our best. I love to go to lunch and sit there at Puerto Vallarta and have a. We've been there. Or Puerto Escondido and have a conversation and see what we can do and happy. Our businesses matter. Yeah. It's what's making us go. So all in for what you guys are doing too.
Very good. Well, we appreciate the work you're doing, especially over in the Boise. That's what a dedication to take some months off and go over there and do everything that you're fighting for the businesses and the people here in Eastern Idaho.
I couldn't do it without Steve's letting me do it. So kudos to him too, but thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. Is there anything else that you want our community to know that you're fighting for them and being in the legislature?
You know, I said it in the beginning, it's really true. It is a humbling experience to be able to go over there, to represent the people here, to know that they put their confidence and trust in you. And I do my best not to let it down. I know that, you know, we have some people on the other side, and all I can say is, you know, we just see things differently, and the promises that I've made to people about who I am and what I'll do and what I represent, I keep my promises. That's who I've been over there, and that's who I'm going to keep, you know, what I'll keep trying to represent.
Good. Well, we had Representative Furness on here, I think right before the legislative session, and it's good that you could wrap it up and kind of tell us about what's happened. And thank you for your dedication and service to the legislature over there. So.
Thanks, guys.
Very good. Well, why don't you end with this quote that you have here?
Well, it's something that I ran across years ago, and it's kind of what I consider to be, you know, one of my mottos. But nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm, and that's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And you know, I like to play off my name, Ehardt, or you know, the 3 E's is what. Is where your heart is, and that's energy, emotion, enthusiasm. So thanks, guys.
Very good. Very good. Very powerful there. We appreciate Barb Ehardt representing Eastern Idaho over in the legislature and all the work that you've done there. So we've got some exciting shows coming up in the month of May. We've got 4 people already on the docket that will be coming here, and they are some amazing business owners here in Eastern Idaho. So keep tuning in to Talkin' Business. We've got a segment here called Total BS. I know me and you talk total BS, but
all the time.
But Jared and I like to talk even a little more total BS.
You're good at it.
So we're going to be talking about Spectrum residential habilitation. Here, this is a segment that we have recorded, talking total BS with Jared from BBSI. Thanks for watching Talkin' Business, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the month of May. Thanks, everybody. Give us a thumbs up. There you go. Thanks, everybody. Welcome back. Yeah, we got to Talkin' BS. We love to talk BS every week, don't we?
We do.
Wow.
Spotlighting businesses.
That's spotlighting business, not what you guys were thinking. So we appreciate BBSI once again sponsoring our Total BS Business Spotlight. I just got to say, kudos to BBSI. If I have to say, there's any company in Idaho Falls that has the top people that I would ever think of hiring, they've done it. So you're one of them.
Thank you.
So
yeah, it's great to be here, Brian. I love spotlighting some of the best businesses in our area, and we have a lot of them. And we've talked before about the ecosystem that we have here. What I love about, especially about this business as well, is we have these family businesses that are able to not just transition successfully from generation to generation, but thrive and take it to the next level. The old, stereotype is, the first generation builds it, the second generation kind of rides it out, and the third generation kind of tanks it.
Yeah.
That's not been the case in this market,
wow,
which is awesome.
Wow, Teton Delivery. I mean, you guys have seen their vehicles around. They have vehicles with their signs on it. Man, do these guys do some amazing work. Talk to us about what their extent of you see them all over. I've seen them in Boise. I've seen them in Salt Lake. Kind of talk about what this business does.
Yeah, homegrown here in Idaho Falls. And what they do is they provide secure on-demand courier services. This is a business that not a lot of people know about, but that's part of the infrastructure of the business and the medical services. So they provide everything from, route deliveries around town for documentations for banks and law firms and things like that. They run change, so most of the retail places, they still do take cash, even though I don't ever carry it.
Yeah.
So they need cash from the bank. They don't want to send an employee out, so they'll do a bank run, all that kind of fun stuff. But what they do that really provides an amazing service is they run a lot of lab samples and a lot of medical supplies and critical supplies around. So if you think about, heaven forbid, somebody gets a negative diagnosis on cancer or something, and the doctor wants to run some really critical tests and get those down to the Huntsman Cancer Center in Salt Lake. Well, you don't put that stuff in a FedEx envelope and hope it gets there
You hope it
overnight.
gets there the next night. Yeah, the next day.
Right. So this has on-demand services. So they will take a sample on demand, on call from Idaho Falls, and it will be in Salt Lake within however long it takes to physically drive and get to the Huntsman Institute.
Hand delivered.
Hand delivered.
Yeah.
Their motto is really they deliver what matters. And no matter what, really. So they run all over the place. My daughter actually worked for them a couple of years ago before she served an LDS mission. And she was what's called a hotshot driver.
Wow.
So not assigned to a route, but something critical needs to get. So say a computer part for a Walmart in Spokane. And they can't afford to just shut down. And so they have to have something to the back of their servers or their point of sale. Well, call up Teton Delivery.
Well,
they have some inventory.
They will deliver it to Spokane even.
Idaho Falls to Spokane.
Wow.
Without stop, right? Fuel and bathrooms aside.
Yeah.
They're a part of the infrastructure that really no one is visible to, but they're an amazing resource here in Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
And they have a great footprint, as you said.
They just moved into a new building out on my side of town.
Yes.
By the Innovation Center out there in the Anderson Development. I know it's they got a great building out there, but they have just got some great things going.
They do. Great people. They do what's right by the client. They do what's right by their employees. Wonderful ownership. Second generation that's not just writing it out, but that has a bigger vision, broader vision, and setting the organization up for success, even beyond what the first generation founders done. So I like that story for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
So thank you, Teton Delivery.
Yes, great company. Check them out if your business needs anything. Teton Delivery here in Idaho Falls, but they cover everywhere. So you'll see their vehicles all over, and man, what a great service that they do. So check out Teton Delivery. Thanks for talking some BS with me today.
You're welcome. Thanks, Brian.
And you know what? This green grass is going to eventually be there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a dream.
It's a dream, but it's coming. So it is, you remember, April showers bring May flowers, and we hope we'll someday see those, right?
Yep, fishing next weekend for me. So
there you go. Get out there and hook it. So anyway, make it a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. Talkin' Business. Make it a great weekend.